Okay, I am now recording this, so okay, in this class, we're going to show how to do a combination book of like an ancestors and descendants of so-and-so. If you've seen any of my other videos, you've probably noticed I do this tree a lot with my great-grandparents, Clarence Benjamin Hall and Gladys Bloomfield. Now to utilize the color coding, I color coded the ancestral lines using these 4 colors for Clarence, and then I use this set of colors for Gladys. So now in order to do this, you basically have to create the books. So I'm assuming you've got the books kind of how you like them. So what we're going, I like doing, you can do the ancestors in a couple different ways. Like if I want to do the ancestors of Clarence and Gladys, you can either choose one of their children, like Dorothy, who's my grandmother, and do her ancestors so that they're all together. Or what I kind of prefer is like, okay, here's Clarence's ancestors, and then here's Gladys's ancestors. So I'm actually going to be taking 3 books and combining them into one. I'm going to start with doing the descendants of Clarence and Gladys, and then I'll do the ancestors of Clarence, and then the ancestors of Gladys. So the first thing is all the same, descendants of, and I'm going to do a Word document. I've only got 2007 on my laptop, so that's the version I'm selecting. If I had a version higher, like I've got 2016 on my desktop, I'd select this one.
If you use the DocX, it opens in 2007 anyway.
Well, yeah, except for the 2016, it can use some additional features that 2007 doesn't support. So
now I'm stuck with 2007.
So anyway, so we just create the book, and I'm not actually going to create these books. I already saved them earlier, but you know, you basically save the descendants. And then you go to an ancestors. Now, the one thing with the ancestors now is when you do a book, all this title, colophon, dedication, forward, introduction, these are all the same except for like the statistics. And this only matters if you care what those statistics are, because this is one thing you'll have to do a little tweak to if you want those statistics to work for the combined book. So I'll generate this, but for the ancestors books, I won't create these additional pages. If you do, that's fine. You're going to just wind up deleting them from those books. So, but do the page for the same ones, but then, you know, create, no, whoops. But okay, yeah, create the ancestors book, and then you can either exit out, select Gladys, come back in, or you could just type in the name. You know, select my great grandma and do the ancestors book there. Does anyone have any questions about that? So, I mean, at this point, like I said, I didn't go through the time on here just to have you sit here waiting.
John, how did you get the picture of your in the heading, in the title page? How did you get the picture of them?
That's next week's class.
This is just using the full screen editor. You know, you can just insert a picture.
Okay.
Or it's tomorrow's class.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've got swimming classes.
I'll be there tomorrow.
But yeah, I mean, but basically it's right in here. You can actually add in actually add in the picture, insert the picture. So, so at this point in time, we got these 3 documents. So here's the descendants. Now here's the colophon, the dedication. Here's the color coding, you know, where it explains the maternal, paternal lines. Contents and introductions, and see now this one says, okay, it's only 26 pages. And actually for this, I'm actually going to shut down. We've created the books or the 3 Word documents, so we actually don't need Word or Family Tree Maker anymore. So we've got this, you know, it basically goes down to the people, and then yeah, let's see. One thing you'll notice is okay, here's the table of contents. And see, notice there's nothing in here because these are all updated fields. And this is what makes combining the books easy. But what I want to show here is on this descendants book, because I'm going to do a descendants and ancestors of. I'm going to do the descendants first and then show the ancestors. You can do them in a different order if you want. But now if we just look at this, here's the family tree. So here it basically covers, okay, there's Clarence, Gladys, their information, and then their children. And then the media for Clarence and Gladys. Yeah, there's Gladys. Okay, now it comes on to here. Okay, now let's look at, here's the ancestors of Clarence Benjamin. Now I told that not to do the title page, the colophon, or anything like that. I did do this, the introduction, and I'll show you why in a little bit. But see, now here you see this family of the starting person is basically duplicated. So we don't need this printed like 2-3 times. So what we're actually going to do is delete this from this book, because this is the ancestors. And I mean, we don't have to, I mean, we just have to get to the end part to where it starts changing, which is right here. Families of his ancestors. So now it starts going into the ancestors. So this is the part we want to start copying into the other book. But to get, so I'm actually going to start up there and then do Shift Control End. That's going to basically copy to the end. And now there's the index of individuals and places, which we don't need. So you can either pre-delete those items or, but basically I selected all the new stuff I want to copy. So I just copied it, select copy. And now on the descendants book, okay, here's where it's going to go. Now we have to, on page layout, I need to insert a section break. Now, this, whether you do a next page or like an odd even page, depends. Do you just want it to start on the next page? You don't have to have it start on a new page, or if you want to say start on an odd page, you know, so like in a book. You know, the odd pages, you know, when you look at a book, you don't have the new section start on a clean page. I'm going to just say next page. And then I paste it in. Oh, whoops.
Yeah, you clicked off of.
Yeah.
selecting those.
Okay. Okay, let me just. I tell you what, let me just do this the easy way. There, I want to copy this chapter right there, chapter family of his descendants, to where that is. So it says, because there's going to be a chapter of his descendants, and you can edit this to be their descendants for Claire's. Then it's going to do the thing for families of his ancestors. Then I'll do the same thing on Gladys's, where it's the so it's just going to basically denote these different sections. And if you want, you can always see this last section as this last sentence. There's a chapter for each generation. There's a chapter for each generation. There's a chapter for each generation. I mean, if you want, we can maybe just delete that. That's what I do. And then just leave it on that one. So I took those 3 paragraphs, made it one bigger 4-sentence paragraph. And the reason why I like copying that first is, see, now this stuff I can just delete because I don't need it. And it makes copying easier. So I get to, this is the part where is basically duplicated in all the books, which are their descendants. Get to the end. Lots of scrolling. So now I can just do Shift Control Home and hit delete. So now I basically start, I'll leave that page break in for right now. That leaves those descendants. And then I'll do the same thing for Gladys's. Because all I'm right now doing is just deleting all this duplicated stuff. Okay, now it's going to be easier to copy and paste. Okay, here's where I created that section break. So now here's Ancestors to Clarence. I'm going to just do a Control A, select the entire document. And then you can do Control C to copy, or you can right click and say copy. And then descendants now, I'll just Control V to paste. So, okay, here's where it was. Okay, I've got a blank page there. So now it starts families of his ancestors. And let me just delete that blank page. So there's families of his ancestors. into the new book already. Okay, so that's the end of that. This is the end of the book because, okay, there's the places. So that's a good remark as to this is a good reference point as to where the sections are breaking. So, because right here's the descendants now, or no, actually. Well, you can, well, okay. You can decide where you want them, if you want the descendants first or last. This is having the descendants last. So this is putting the descendants first, or the end. I'm sorry, this is probably getting confusing because I'm switching gears. I'm doing the ancestors and then the descendants. It starts with their first one. Okay, here's where we inserted. So I'm going to insert another section break. And now I go to Gladys's, and basically I'm going to copy and paste. And scrolling is the fun part. Okay, so here's the end of that one. Delete that. Okay, so we got the families of ancestors of his. Then now the ancestors of Gladys. Now we scroll down. That's fourth generation. I did like 4 or 5 generations. Okay, that's where that ends. Okay, here are these placeholders. We don't need multiple indexes of places or individuals. And this is because we inserted twice. So that was her ancestors, and now we're into their descendants.
Dawn, when you take out that, what was it, the table of place names and the table
Yeah,
of,
it's basically a duplicate of the duplication of this index of places.
so will the final product then be, have all the people?
Yes, it will. We only need one copy of each. We only need one copy of the index.
Okay. Yeah.
I just left them in there because when you copy and paste, seeing that index of places and people, individuals, that's a good reminder to say, okay, here's where their section ends. So now that that's done, and you can go through and verify, you know, everything is, yeah, because we're into the descendants part. Here's the ancestors of Gladys. Scrolling up, that's still ancestors of Gladys. There's a lot of, I've got a lot more on the Bloomfield line than the Hall line. So, but here we are in ancestry. Okay, so now, and now if there's any other editing you want to do, or even if you just do a book by itself without doing this combination, once you're all done now, I'm going to just get to this table of contents page. It tells you right here, select all on the edit menu or use Control A and then press F9. So I'm going to do Control A and F9. And now on some computers, the function keys tie into like the media stuff, in which case then you'll have to do a function F9. But otherwise, just pressing F9, now it's going to repaginate and it's going to now generate the table of contents and the indexes. And so, boom, here we go. So we get the family of the starting person, Clarence and Gladys. Then we got families of his ancestors, you know, first generation, second. Then now the family of her ancestors, and then the families of their descendants. And all the page numbers automatically. And now if we scroll down, you know, then here's all the people, and as now here's all the halls on their side. Fuller, that's on the Bloomfield, but then here's all the Bloomfields. You know, so all the people are there, all the places got updated.
Okay.
And really, that's all it is. You just delete the duplicate stuff and then know where you're putting it. And then the big key is to put in a section break. And what the section break does then is it keeps these headers and footers straight. You see, there's like the descendants of Clarence and Gladys.
You put that section break between the three like books?
Yeah, where you're cutting and pasting into.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, I want to start copying or insert after this point. You put in the section break. And then probably the only other thing you need to change here is change this title to like ancestors and descendants of. And obviously that didn't affect any page numbering. And then just resave it. Then you can either save it as a Word or you can save it directly as a PDF then. Ancestors and descendants of. And that's repaginating.
That's
So
pretty
really,
cool.
that's all there is to it. Now, the one thing that would change, yeah, so then there it is in PDF format, you know, so. Now, the one thing, if you like the statistics, you know, because the statistics, it says 28 people. So, well, there's more than 28 people in here. So you could either just not include that information, just delete it, or let me go back into Family Tree Maker. What I did to get the statistics is I created a family register, but the family register is really for everyone in your tree. Well, I don't want everyone in the tree. So what I did is I create an export. I did it just for selected individuals. I brought in Clarence's descendants and ancestors, and I only included the preferred since they're the ancestors. And in this example, I did it for 5 generations. And then select Gladys. And do the same thing, limit it to 5. So now I got 78 people. For this case, you do not need media or anything like that. You basically export this tree and then restore it, which is this tree right here, which is basic. So this is basically everyone that is in that book. Now, now normally if you're gonna do it for all your ancestors, you wouldn't limit the generation, but for this example, I did. And then you go into, back into Family Book Creator. And then you run a list of or the Family Register report. Or the alphabetical family report. Create the document. Like I said, the media is not important in this, but you get this. And the important thing here is you got this statement, which now has the statistics for everyone in that book, which is 78. So you can just copy that one sentence. Whoops, that's the ancestors. And paste it into there. So then that would update those statistics. And like I said, if you don't care about them for a combined book, you can just eliminate that paragraph altogether. So, but that's just one way of getting the updated statistics for a combined book.
Okay.
So, and that's the only purpose for doing that.
I've got a couple questions, John. Remind me how you got that, get the thumbnail print beside the people.
To get the thumbnail. Oh, you mean
Yeah, the little.
Like this?
Yeah.
No, that's
Is that in Family?
yeah, that's in Family Book Creator.
I've done it.
But now there is a little gotcha, because there's another little setting. Because items to include, for primary partner and the child, you have to have this include portraits checked. Okay. But there's one setting that overrides that. I think this is under preferences. Yeah, this is the thing that's like, okay, there's so many. There's a setting about whether or not you want to use tables or not. Maybe this is in. Oh, if you use this setting right here, create plain text and do not use tables, you will not have portrait photos.
Oh, that seems strange.
So, because it needs to use tables in order to use them. Okay. So make sure that is unchecked. It does kind of mention that in the manual, that if you uncheck that, you won't have portrait photos. Or if you do check that, you won't have portrait photos. Okay. And I'm not sure if, yeah, see, you by checking that, see, you don't even have the option. Oh no, wait. Yeah, that is there, but.
Okay, so that's under options.
Yeah, it's under options. You have to make sure this is unchecked, as well as it is checked to say include portraits, and you'll have to do that in primary partner in these two sections, all four of these sections.
Okay. I noticed that you usually put your books like divided by generations. I've always thought I would put them into families instead.
You can do that, because that's actually a preference. Well, it's a preference on, oh, let me go back to, it's an option on the descendants. It's not really ancestors because that's all about families. It's your parents,
Yeah.
grandparents, great grandparents. Um, you can select here, say organized by families rather than by generations. And there's pluses and minuses to both sides. This whole book that I generally do, the one I update about every 3 months is the descendants of Clarence and Gladys. And I will produce it in both ways, by families and by generation. And the nice thing about families is, like, if you want to give it to someone to proofread, you can say, oh, your family is on page 45 to 86 or 101 to 120, you know. And for those of you that maybe aren't familiar with what this is doing, if you've ever done an outline descendants report in Family Tree Maker, it kind of lists, okay, the first child and then their children, grandchildren, great grandchildren. Then I'll go to the second child and I'll list their children, grandchildren, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it just keeps going down that way. And then last child, and the last grandchild, great grandchild, blah, blah, blah. It keeps the family groups together. So so that's the difference. So yes, you do have that option on the.
Yeah.
So, so like I said, I do them both ways. This one, I just happen to do it by generations. And to me, it kind of makes a little more sense since the ancestors, it's always by generation. So descendants, the same way. So, but like I said, it's personal preference. So.
Okay.
And if you do get everything set up the way you like, be sure to save your settings.
Yeah. And and it also depends on which family, because some family members like some stuff one way and others like other stuff. So like generally I don't do the source citations, but there's one line in which I do. And then I usually do it as endnotes, just it has references to them, but so, but for the most part, I don't do the source citations, just because 99.9% of my cousins and stuff, their eyes just glaze over at all that stuff. It's like they don't care.
And if you do use a lot of sources, it can add pages and pages and pages.
Yeah, it does. And like my main book, it's already like 500 pages, and I'm trying to get it down to 470 so I can spiral bind it. And so
I've got I've kind of made myself kind of a cheat sheet because I couldn't remember how I was setting it up, but of the settings. And so I've got under, like, this is the settings in Family Book Creator. So I've got education, occupation, residence, and interests all under table P3. Table P3. Like in,
oh, okay.
What ones do you find that work better in the table form than the?
Well, like the residence and census facts, I know really don't, to me, work. I haven't found a good way to get them to work in a narrative format. So those I do. Certain things, yeah, where it just says occupation. Yeah, he was a plumber, or you know, she was a nurse or doctor. You know,
Mhm.
Stuff like that would probably, well, if it just says that, you could probably get that to work in a narrative, but
So when I'm doing the census, I make a note, a fact note. So then that fact note would go in, if I put it in a table, would that fact note go in there?
it depends upon how you tell it to.
Yeah.
Because yeah, because let's see here, residents. This is one I've got as a fact. Because because here like P1, this will do the date, place, description, and notes. Well, they all will, and it just depends upon how
So,
the
yeah,
style for rightmost, leftmost, middle.
yeah. So which one,
You kind of have to play with it to see how it works with your data.
yeah. Which ones do you usually put in table form though?
Well, residence and census I do. Occupation I do as a narrative. Physical description, because that's one that depend upon how you have the information entered. I mean, you really have to be careful how it's worded, and
Mhm.
you have to really be consistent if you want anything in a narrative format for those fact types. Whereas in table format, you don't have to be as specific. If you've got different formats of, well, this time I did it this way, but a year ago I might have entered it this way.
Yeah, that's why I got this put together here for myself, but
That's where a table format can sometimes work. And it's like residents, I'm still cleaning up some of those as to how, in census, as to how that stuff does.
I started doing them as residents, and then I found that I liked it better under census. But
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still debating.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I know the arguments both ways, but so
Yeah.
like, well, here's one like DNA kit. I don't even really print the information. I just print the fact that they took a DNA test.
Oh. Mhm.
And that's the best where I found is like to do a narrative in Family Tree Maker style. I wonder if oh yeah, I do have someone who has taken it. And basically it just says, okay, this person has taken a DNA test. It doesn't really display any of the information other than, I mean, it's like if I'd want to print because it's my great aunt Evelyn did.
So that doesn't mean that they're a match. It just means that
Yeah, they've taken it because it's like, because otherwise if I was printing out this, in a book, what does that mean to anyone? It only means stuff to me when I generate my DNA charts.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and this I use in with Charting Companion and stuff.
So, okay. Oh, yes.
And if I use stuff like this, see, this stuff doesn't really mean anything as far as a narrative in the book.
Okay. So which one would you use as narrative in the book? Which of those DNA kits?
None of them.
None of them.
Oh,
Oh,
well, they are in a narrative, but all it will print is that they have taken a DNA test.
okay.
Because like, let me search for Evelyn.
I'm ready after this game here.
Which one? Oh, I'm in the wrong book. That's why. No. No, that's. Yeah, family. Yeah, so here's how it prints in here. It just says Evelyn has taken a DNA test. It's just a one little sentence, so.
Yeah. Okay.
So. And I mean, I could specify out and maybe put in the note, say like an ancestry DNA test, or 23andMe, or if I wanted to be that specific. But I just found having all that data, that was another one of those things that people just kind of went, huh?
So how did you put it into your family tree maker?
Well, my family tree maker, it's just like this DNA kit. This is how it is.
Okay, so that'll.
But the reason why it prints that way is in Family Book Creator, I told it to use the Family Tree Maker sentence style. And in Family Tree Maker, for this DNA kit fact, under properties, here's how I want the fact sentence to print. I just says, mentions the person has taken a DNA test.
Okay.
I'm not referencing date, place, or description, or note, or anything like that.
Okay.
So, any other questions?
Not right now.
Okay. But let's see, next, trying to think what tomorrow's class is going to be. It's yeah, tomorrow's class will be using the full page editor, so that will be covering some of the new stuff in 2019 for using for the title page, the colophone title, or title, dedication, introduction.
Okay, that'll be good.
So it's going to be all about that, and then that's going to be, that shouldn't be too long of a class, because maybe a half hour or so. And then Fridays will be kind of going back to media, because there's so much to the media, and some stuff that was only maybe mentioned but not demonstrated. So
yeah. Okay,
so
that's good.
Okay, well,
I feel like I got my own private lesson.
Yeah.
Sounds like your brother.
Sarah, you got a hand up. Did you have a question?
Voice.
I'm not hearing you. Now, Sarah, I can't hear you. I can see your mouth moving, but I can't actually hear you. And I still can't hear you. You're not muted, or else you can try typing stuff into the chat. How do I fix it where you can hear me? I don't know how you're on it looks like you're using some type of like a Bluetooth. You can maybe just try disconnecting that. Because before we were able to hear you. So I don't know if your Bluetooth doesn't have a microphone.
It does.
Oh, now I hear you. Okay.
You hear me now?
Yes, I hear you now.
Okay. So, the Family Book Creator that you were using, was that something you had to download somewhere? Because it looks
Well-
like you were using Family Tree Maker.
Well, yeah, Family Book Creator is a plugin to Family Tree Maker.
Oh, gotcha.
So if you don't have it, they do offer a free trial.
Okay.
It's currently only available. For Windows, but I know
Yes, that's what I have.
yeah, a Mac version is in the work, and you just go to familybookcreator.com and the link is in
gotcha.
the group.
Okay.
Then let's see, yeah, you can get the trial edition. Just trying to think where.
Don't you have to sign up or do an email or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it might be on the newsletter.
Oh,
But yeah, they'll let you use it for 30 days. Yeah, I think you
Okay,
just sign up
gotcha.
for the newsletter. Or like I said, there is a download link in the Family Book Creator group. That's here in the announcements. And it's actually here in the pin, so like build 606. You click on, yeah, the see more, and you can go straight to this download area
okay.
and
Let's see.
select your version. And then without the license key, it's going to run in trial mode.
Right.
Download the manual. Now this I wouldn't recommend printing out this manual just because a new manual is coming.
Okay.
But this one still has a lot of information, but there's some new stuff that isn't in that manual. But here's where you download it. And then you can try it. It is limited to like you'll only work on like 70 families. Yeah, here's, yeah, it'll say like, please, or the evaluation. Oh yeah, it'll only work for 70 families. Once well for the lifespan, it'll say free trial and stuff like that, but you should be able to see how it works with your data and stuff.
Okay. Awesome.
So, and like I said, there are some like basic classes in the YouTube channel. So that kind of covers some like the rookie mistakes some people do. And one of the biggest ones is when sometimes people say stuff gets duplicated. And that's usually because of this section right here. You typically only want minimal information because the children that fall in line here, this is where they're listed with their parents, but they've got their own section later on.
Oh, okay.
So you only want like minimal information, generally absolutely no notes. So in this one section, but these four, look, these four right here look extremely the same. And typically I've got the same settings for these three. And partner, this is where you get the shared facts, like marriage, divorce.
Right.
So that's about the only thing that's really different between.
And
Okay.
if you just start with using the default settings. You might
Yeah.
like how it comes out. And only do it for like one family until you can
Yeah.
see if you want to make.
And initially, just to get, so you don't get overwhelmed, don't even worry about the media right now. I'd just uncheck that.
Right.
Get so all your data looks right first. And then you can start going on, okay, now let's start including the media.
Okay.
So it's like get the text first right, and then start worrying
Exactly.
about the media.
Yep.
Because there's so many options with this media.
With all of it.
So, but anyway, so any
Awesome,
other
thank you.
questions?
That gives me something to explore
Yeah.
further. Another
Yeah, I've
option
always
from
said it's
Treaty to
like one of the
Brooks.
beauty and curses of Family Book Creator is all the options. You got lots of ways you can customize it, but
Right?
sometimes it's like, okay, where's that setting? I know I can change it, but where is it? So,
Right? All right, thank you.
yeah. Okay, well, this will be up on YouTube within probably a half hour or so, and so
Okay.
thanks for stopping by.
Thanks
Thank
very
you
much.
so much.
Another good one.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye.